Phala Media, and you are tuned into the.
And as always, you know this, you can connect with me via WhatsApp, which is great. WhatsApp text, WhatsApp voice notes are welcome. 061 766 0355. To the person who asked the other day to say, "Oh, Ashraf, so you here is Julie not going to be hosting the show?" No, let me just tell you, I'm hosting it for Ramadan only. So I've got like 2 or 3 weeks to go, maybe about 15 days. It depends which way you want to count it. Just the weekdays in Ramadan. Then I get on with other things, and Julie then will take over the hot seat, as she always does on this particular show here on Phala Media. But talking about hot seats, the president of the country certainly is in the hot seat, and it's made even hotter when a former president comments about him. I mean, it says a lot about what's the goings on, not just in the country, but certainly the goings on in within the ANC itself. So we thought, let's talk about that. 2 guests, Dr. Ebrahim Harvey is with us, and Fikile Vilakazi, both are political analysts. So, Dr. Ebrahim Harvey, good morning. Salam alaikum. Good of you to join us. Thank you.
Alaikum salam. Good morning. Good to be with you.
Thank you. And Fikile Vilakazi, looking forward to connecting with you. Good morning. Thank you.
Salam alaikum. Good morning.
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Right. Okay. So let's get the background story very quickly. Thabo Mbeki, former president of South Africa, and of course of the ANC, writes a letter to the deputy president of the ANC, effectively making a series of comments about the ANC and about the president regarding this issue that doesn't go away, the issue of Phala Phala, and if you can remember that impeachment vote that took place in Parliament in December. So we thought, let's get to know more about it. So, Dr. Ebrahim Harvey, let's start with you first up, right? First of all, just the gist of the letter, maybe just in 3 bullet points. What did he say?
Well, I think primarily, Mbeki is fed up with the ANC around a lot of things, but in particular, the Phala Phala scandal has been handled by the ANC. So I think he's there are arguments to be made about why he chose to go public and, did not discuss it. But it's often been like this, that the complaint is that people shouldn't be airing, disagreements in public and all that. But the heart of that letter really is, I think it comes against a particular background. Don't forget, in fact, even prior to the decision of the independent parliamentary panel to that there was a prima facie case, he was already saying on TV, and I supported him in my News 24 column, that what if he asked the ANC, what if the panel finds that there is indeed a prima facie case to answer? And so this has been on his mind, because I think deep down, if and anybody with reasonable average intelligence would see there's a case to be answered. And you can see the Ramaphosa completely failed to persuade that panel about his version of those events. So this has been a big thing. I don't think the background, it's true that Mandela favored Ramaphosa to be his successor than Mbeki, but I don't think those background issues are so prominent at the moment. I think it's really, and one must look at it with a particular integrity. I think he's serious about his disquietude and disappointment with how the ANC has handled the Phala Phala scandal.
So a couple of things there. I mean, just give it context. In December, we know when this Phala Phala scandal, when it sort of broke, a few weeks before that, of course, right, there was effectively a vote at the National Assembly to decide whether there should be an actual investigation into the impeachment of the president. And that's the vote that got knocked out or knocked down by the majority ANC members. And that's what Ramaphosa is arguing against. So what's the basis of his argument? Why is he saying that effectively they did the wrong thing?
No, he doesn't have an argument. Seriously, I know Cyril for 41 years now. He has no argument. That is why he's so silent and saying so very little, even to the media, on the Phala Phala scandal. And you must remember also, there's other things that is important in this background. The Integrity Commission of the ANC, which to my mind has very little ironically integrity, they had decided to release their findings on the Phala Phala scandal before the ANC's electoral conference. And suddenly, and I'm sure it's from pressure from Ramaphosa and others, they said, no, hold on, they will release it and deal with it at the national conference. Predictably, I knew they won't. And as I predicted, they never. They said, no, they'll let the NEC deal with it. It has never been dealt with because apparently there was a leaked. This report of the Integrity Commission was leaked to the media. And apparently this report was quite scathing, boldly about Ramaphosa and his handling and what had happened on the farm. So there's a particular background to this thing, and then, to reinforce his displeasure, he mentions the ESCOM matter. Very, very importantly, and it just shows you how the ANC is morally, ethically, and politically declining at a rapid pace. I mean, how could it oppose a parliamentary instituted investigation into it's everyone knows the terrible corruption at ESCOM, and they opposed it. So I think that, together with the Phala Phala scandal, just got to Mbeki and probably rushed into, releasing this in SABC, I think, carried it first.
Okay, the last thing for now, before I bring in Fikile on this one here, is like, besides being, disgruntled and disillusioned, on the one hand, I'm talking about Mbeki, and on the other hand, maybe wanting to carry the moral high ground on the other. What, however, do you think that he's hoping to achieve by this letter addressed to the Deputy President of the ANC?
No, what he wants, pointedly, without any shred of doubt, I'm answering you. He wants the ANC to take responsibility for this thing and to deal with it properly. In fact, the ANC should never have rejected, because that independent parliamentary report says consistently it is provisional, it is contingent. It's not saying that Ramaphosa is guilty. It's only saying, and indeed there is enough evidence to produce a prima facie verdict that there's a case to be answered. So the ANC, but you know what? The ANC was not persuaded by Ramaphosa's version and their ability to defend it in an open parliamentary discussion and debate. And that's why they rejected the panel's report, which I think was a serious problem.
Okay, that's your initial thoughts. Let me bring in then Fikile Vilakazi, Dr. Fikile Vilakazi as well. Appreciate your time. Right, you've heard some of the thoughts from Dr. Ebrahim Harvey, but let's get to your thoughts. What do you make of this letter by a former president to the deputy president, in this case, both of the ANC and of the country?
Good morning, Ashraf, and salam to listeners at home and to viewers at home. I read the letter of the former President Thabo Mbeki with deep interest. And the things that the former president is raising, are things that pertain to, first and foremost, the Phala Phala panel of, independent panel that was appointed, and how he is disappointed in the manner that the African National Congress in Parliament has dealt with that matter. Secondly, the former president touches on the motion that came after the Phala Phala independent panel process in Parliament at the National Assembly, where that motion, because of the majority vote of the ANC, was also blocked, according to his words. And thirdly, of course, as Dr. Harvey puts it beautifully, he touches on the matter of ESCOM. Again, there was a motion that was presented by the DA, as again, to say, let us form a parliamentary committee, ad hoc committee, to deal with these matters, to investigate ESCOM, but also to investigate the question of Phala Phala. Both motions were voted against because of the majority of the African National Congress in Parliament. So former President Thabo Mbeki, in that letter, 17 pages, by the way, raises deeply seated concerns about the manner in which the African National Congress in Parliament, because of its majority vote, is constantly, repeatedly, even from the Nkandla saga, which is known as the Nkandla Gate for all of us as South Africans, that they're repeating the mistakes of the past. And that is what is troubling former President Thabo Mbeki, to say, why is it that we are not learning as the African National Congress? And I'm saying here we, because I'm interpreting the letter, from the experiences of the Nkandla Gate, where the ANC in Parliament at the National Assembly again used its majority vote to undermine the constitutional mandate of what is the responsibility of Parliament in terms of oversight. in the work of the executive. And he's troubled by that because in his view, it's almost like you cannot be the African National Congress that negotiated this democratic constitution during the Constitutional Assembly between 1994 and 1997. And you are then again be seen on the public domain in Parliament, acting and abusing this constitution. So he's troubled by those issues to say it is so embarrassing, ANC, that we are now beginning to see and hear the voice of the opposition like the Democratic Alliance and perhaps the EFF, who are seemingly the custodians of defending this constitution that you should be defending, but you are failing when you carry them at the majority vote. And it's time to then educate the ANC in terms of, also memory lane to say, remember, ANC, the majority vote does not give you the right to undermine the Constitution of South Africa. In fact, the voters of South Africa, on the contrary, are voting for you because they have confidence that you will defend the gains of this Constitution. And Thabo Mbeki, the former president, honorable, he's really reminding the ANC here to say, you have failed dismally in that task. And it is a matter of going back to a place of conscience to say, recheck your power in terms of majority in Parliament.
Okay, I mean, some of the things, and I'm just quoting former President Thabo Mbeki directly, I would assume that as ANC members, we would assume that our president would not do and has not done anything impeachable. Then he said something like, I would presume that as ANC members, we would assume that our president would not do and has not done anything which Parliament should not investigate in the course of the discharges of its constitutional duties. Then he says, what message are we communicating to the masses of our people about the values and integrity of the ANC? Now, nothing that he said surprises the public, because we've been saying things like that for a very long time about what I would call the fallen ANC, right? But perhaps to put this to you, in terms of where we are, Dr. Vilakazi, is this letter significant, or is it simply a playground squabble between two people who happen to have been in the same class, and the one is saying bad things about the other, justified or not, and now all those the students in the classroom at the playground are having their spat? Is it that, or is this something that is significant?
I really think that, I think it's both, right? Because you are seeing here a former president that is genuinely concerned about the direction that the African National Congress is taking. And I think we must remember, South Africans and fellow listeners and viewers at home, that this is not the first time that a letter of this nature has been written to the ANC by former presidents. So former President Thabo Mbeki has been that voice. Be that as it may, he is a former president of the ANC. So the issues that we're dealing with here are issues of legacy, in terms of how the ANC has been conducting itself at the National Assembly. And he says we, because I think he includes himself, he subjects himself in this conversation. So there is that as well, to say, I'm also speaking as a member of the ANC, as a former president as well. So I have a stake here. I am subjected, I'm a member of the ANC, and I voted also with those who voted in Parliament. And it's problematic in the manner that we've done it. So it's a matter of self-critique here, right? And he raises a number of questions also that are ideological, in terms of ESCOM and other director, where he speaks about the ideological standpoint of the ANC, perhaps, and how all of this plays into that. When he talks about, reminds us of Marxism and Lenin. I mean, we all know the African National Congress emerges from that school of thought. And maybe, his argument, of course, about Andre de Ruyter is that it may be that Andre de Ruyter is representing forces that are against the National Democratic Revolution, right? Okay. And that's arguable. That's arguable. But for me, that is what is at stake here. You are seeing a former president who has contributed, by the way, to this chaos that we are sitting with, which is the African National Congress chaos for the nation. So he is not immune. But I think we appreciate the fact that he does own up to that. He says, we have voted. Why are we doing this? We are alienating the masses of the people. Going to 2024 is a point of caution to say, if we all, and I'm saying this, I'm going to qualify the we here. How problematic is the we in this conversation? As we go to 2024, we are going to further alienate the masses of our people if we continue in this trajectory in Parliament. And we, in this instance, points to how the ANC internally votes along the party line, right? And you can see he is a dissenting voice. But he had to vote because of what you call you follow the line. And Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, Suprama Umapila tried to say we can't continue to vote according to the party line on the question of Phala Phala, where the former Umama Nkosazana Dokotela Dlamini Zuma stood up boldly and others and say, I vote differently from my organization. So there are those issues that the letter is conscientizing the ANC to say, are we still relevant in the manner that we are talking about democratic centralization?
Well,
centralism?
some may say conscientizing. Others may say, whether he's reprimanding them. Either way, I think the big issue coming out of that for the moment is not just that former President Thabo Mbeki has written the letter, but how significant is it? How much clout does it have? That means how much clout will it carry, not for you and I, but certainly within the ANC. And it's important because the ANC is the ruling party. We'll get the thoughts of Dr. Ebrahim Harvey right after this.
Only at Sapphire Global, your financial partner. If you are looking for Islamic, Sharia, and ethical financial products, look no further. Sapphire Global offers a wide range of financial service offerings from short-term to life and investments. A full-service center with all financial requirements under one brand. Our highly skilled and experienced consultants are ready to help protect your financial future. Contact us on 041 001 0184 or visit our website on www.sapphireglobalfs.com. Sapphire Global is an authorized financial services provider.
When you give zakah, a powerful chain of events is set into motion, providing life-saving food, care, and financial support, delivering kindness and hope to those desperately in need. That's the power of zakah. This Ramadan, give your zakah with Islamic Relief.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042-203-1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
This Ramadan, spread the winds of generosity across the world with the Al Imdad Foundation. Sponsor a food hamper for just 800 Rand and help us deliver essential food aid supplies to struggling families across 40 countries globally. Let's feed the fasting this Ramadan. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Are you looking for a cross-border road transport company that is committed in achieving high safety standards, who is fast and efficient, and also excel in customer service? Gardi Global specializes in cross-border transport from South Africa to Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Malawi. Gardi Global, situated at 10 Daniel Road, Benrose, Johannesburg. For inquiries, contact our trained staff on 011-614-3108 or email info@gardiglobal.co.za. Safe, long haul into Africa is our business. Gardi Global Transport.
Salam Media, your spiritual companion.
Right, we continue chatting here on the Ashraf Garda show, breakfast show here in Ramadan on Salam Media with Dr. Ebrahim Harvey and Dr. Fikile Vilakazi, both of them talking about effectively Thabo Mbeki's letter to the ANC, being critical, really, in particular, of the handling of the Phala Phala issue by the ANC. Let me then bring in once again Dr. Ebrahim Harvey. So the question I put just during the break, Ebrahim, is this, right? How much clout, besides getting airtime, which we're talking about it, how much clout does this letter carry within the ANC and therefore by implication within government?
No, in fact, I think, thus far we've underplayed the importance. This thing is of vital importance, and the reason why, one of the major contributing factors to how decisive and important it is this particular crisis-ridden conjuncture we're in at the moment. The ANC, the state, is facing the biggest crisis in post-apartheid South Africa. So look at the delivery of this letter of Mbeki within that context. And it is obviously bound to have a massive ramifications, I believe, even in the ANC, with the opposing faction, who is, after Ramaphosa and who oppose his re-election in December, going to make a lot of capital out of Mbeki's letter, I'm certain. But it's of huge, huge significance, really. And I'll tell you that, the ANC is a mess of contradiction. The same Ramaphosa, don't forget, he defended Zuma when there was an attempt to impeach him. All of them defended Zuma. So what they're doing now, all of the people rallying behind Ramaphosa now with the Phala Phala scandal, is exactly what they did with Nkandla, But no doubt.
But therefore, Ebrahim, I mean, here's the point that I'm interested in as a citizen of South Africa. When we talk about significance, does the letter have the capital to force the ANC to rethink its position on Phala Phala, number one? Does it actually have the capital within the ANC specifically to recall its sitting president of the ANC, Ramaphosa? Does it actually have the capital to rethink the fortunes of the ANC going into 2024 with a new person in the leadership position? If not that, then it will simply be a lot of talking.
No, it's not that. It's not simply a lot of talking, and it's neither what you're suggesting, because you see, obviously, I in fact think that this letter is going to have negative ramifications for the ANC in the 2024. Mbeki still wields a lot of clout, don't forget. And his letter would have been penned with a lot of consideration, even with 2024 elections in mind. But Mbeki is a constitutionalist. I don't want to get into a lot of things. He's partly to blame, for the crisis in the ANC. I don't want to get into that now, to focus on Phala Phala. Remember, this is the same man who said, call me a Thatcherite, with gave us force down the throats of Kosatu or everybody. I mean, there's a lot to be said about Mbeki, but I want to focus now on this matter. It is very significant, but its significance, I think, doesn't stretch to recalling Ramaphosa, or in fact the ANC's NEC changing its mind on Phala Phala. No, you never get. They'll flatly contradict themselves. It will go against everything they've done. They've stood in the way. They used their abusively the numerical majority in parliament to stop anything. And even now, who can believe this with the ESCOM inquiry? So you're not going to get a change there. Absolutely not. The ANC would look like, the leadership a laughing stock, where they have to stick to what their course of action has been thus far, and that is an obstacle to an examination, a critical scrutiny, and a discussion and debate, even in Parliament, with the parliamentary report that was released late last year.
So I suppose in rugby terms, they could be, losing a match like 20 points to 5, but they only have one game plan. The ANC can't change the game plan, not now, with a year to go for the election. And in rugby terms, like 20 minutes to go for the end of the match. Let me therefore get your thoughts, Dr. Fikile Vilakazi. Do you agree that, with Ebrahim Harvey on that it's significant, but it certainly won't cause a change within the ANC in the build-up to 2024?
I fully agree. I fully agree with Dr. Harvey. I mean, it's too late, right? We have a couple of months to go to the elections, and there's nothing that the ANC can learn. This is not the first time, like I said. So it's just rhetoric, and in fact, it's this point of caution that says you have few months to rethink your positionality, change your ways, right, to convince voters. But again, remember, he is talking within the context where we're coming from the national elections of the ANC in December, where 55% of supporters of the ANC, who are probably voters of the ANC, no longer even believe what the ANC says. Talk less of an ordinary citizen of South Africa who has been subjected to poverty violence for all these years, right? So the ANC has lost support. And this is a letter that says, be aware in the manner that Deputy President Paul Mashatile, you have responded to questions that you have only exacerbated the problem. You have not assisted us for 2024, and it's too late. Basically, that's what he's saying. To say South Africans are thinking differently. There is no way the ANC is going to recover in 2024 with the kind of a response that was given by Deputy President Paul Mashatile to say that, yes, we are abusing basically the information. Sorry, Ashraf.
No, carry on. So anyway, my point was, yeah, carry on.
No, what I was saying is that Deputy President Paul Mashatile basically said to Parliament, yes, we are aware that we are abusing the majority vote. We are going to continue to do so because we have won the votes there in the voting stations. It means we are going to win every battle here in the National Assembly, even if that battle is about compromising the constitutional responsibility of the National Assembly to hold executive accountable.
How much of currency do you give the fact that Thabo Mbeki wrote the letter to the Deputy President of the ANC and not the Secretary General of the ANC, Fikile Vilakazi?
I have been saying this, Ashraf, and to listeners and viewers at home, that relationships within the ANC are irretrievably damaged. That letter should tell you, why is it that the former president didn't write it to the president? Because the relationships are damaged. Relationships are not working. They don't trust each other. They don't love each other anymore as revolutionaries. And that is something that they are projecting to the nation, right? That division within the ANC has long been projected to the nation. This is why you see what we are sick as South Africa because of the behavior of the ANC. And that you can see in the letter clearly. They don't even trust each other. They don't want to even speak to each other anymore.
And they still want my. But I mean, the problem is they still want my vote. I mean, let me bring in Ebrahim Harvey on that. Your thoughts, Ebrahim? I mean, so the point that was brought up was I asked why not to the SG, and of course, Fikile also said, well, it wasn't even sent to the president. So in this case, the letter didn't go to the president. It also didn't go to the Secretary General of the ANC. You see any significance in that it went to the Deputy President?
No, obviously, it must indicate that there are tensions and differences and problems between Mbeki and the president and the Secretary General, whichever ways it is in. But properly speaking, that letter should go to the General Secretary of the ANC, Secretary General. It should go to that office first and foremost. In fact, constitutionally, it should go to that office. The president is another matter and other people, but the Secretary General should have been sent. But I want to just say one thing: the ANC does not realize it's become its own worst enemy. The ANC has failed to realize by rejecting the parliamentary report, by being the biggest obstacle to dealing openly and transparently with the Phala Phala, they have reinforced what Zondo said. What did Zondo conclude? The parliament is the biggest obstacle to holding the executive to account. It has not fulfilled its role. That is what the Zondo Commission of Inquiry reported. So what did they do? They went to reinforce everything Zondo said of the utter failures of Parliament to hold the executive to account. Who can believe this?
And that leaves me with the last question I'll put to both of you, right? Ultimately, we are 1 year from an election or thereabouts. Let me start with you, Dr. Fikile Vilakazi. In the light of all the things, I mean, you're listening to a former president effectively telling me as a potential voter, Ashraf, my party is a mess. We actually are a mess in so many things. But is he saying, please vote for us or what? So the question I'm asking, therefore, is what's likely then to happen with the ANC in 2024?
Well, I mean, I think he's saying that be cautious, South Africans, do not vote the ANC again, because the majority vote that you're giving them, they are abusing it in Parliament. They've done it with the Nkandla Gate. They're repeating the same mistake with the Phala Phala Gate. And what more do you want to expect? So don't go again on the polls and vote for the ANC. Choose differently when you go to the polls and vote. That's what I would say. And I think South Africans need to listen to that caution very, very seriously.
But do you think he's implying that, the former president, or is that just your analysis?
This is my analysis. I think, I mean, of course, he's a member of the ANC, right? He can't be speaking against the ANC. I want to at least give him that benefit of a doubt. But he is also cautioning to say we cannot continue to vote in this manner as South Africans when this vote is being abused. But he's questioning a lot of things as well, to say the National Assembly is dysfunctional because of the majority vote of the ANC. Perhaps he's cautioning to say, let us rethink how the functions of the National Assembly. And he points us to a judgment in this case on the Nkandla Gate to say, how have you forgotten that yesterday in the Nkandla Gate there was a judgment that says that in the manner that the National Assembly, particularly the majority vote of the ANC, has been dealt with, it was against the Constitution in a sense that it undermined the responsibility that is embedded in Section 42 of the Constitution of the executive to be held accountable by Parliament. So he's actually pointing us to those things to say, South Africans, be aware, the ANC is abusing your vote in Parliament. Think about it. How do you want to deal with that in 2024?
Okay, let's get the final word to Ebrahim Harvey. Just comment on that in terms of maybe two things here. How will this impact the ANC in 2024? But before that, what sort of conversations would the ANC be having now? The president, the deputy president, and the secretary general of the ANC. What sort of conversations would they be having in the light of Mbeki's letter?
Well, already the Secretary General has indicated that they've asked him to attend a meeting, with them, the leaders to discuss his letter. So and they moved very quickly on that, and they move very quickly because they know that Mbeki still carries formidable clout. I think, in objective terms, it's going to count against the ANC in next year's election. But don't forget, while I say that, Mbeki, is dyed in the wool ANC, the family, the history, everything. Mbeki will never allow even these matters for him to not vote ANC or to give a call out there to the public that it's time that we don't vote for the ANC. He will still vote a critical vote for the ANC. That is how much he's dyed in the wool ANC.
Okay, but the question there as we end up is he may vote for the ANC, but his pronouncements effectively telling people beware. I'm sort of loosely quoting Desmond Tutu saying, beware, pass up, right? Is he may vote, but is he inadvertently convincing many others not to vote for the ANC? Think about that. Thank you so much for your time, both of you. Fascinating conversation. Dr. Ebrahim Harvey and Dr. Fikile Vilakazi from the University of Western Cape, in fact, on the issue of this letter from the former president. He may say, you know what, with all the presidents, if Kgalema Motlanthe has been the caretaker, Mandela stayed his course, I was recalled, Zuma was recalled, why can't Ramaphosa be recalled as well? And that's the way we go. I'm just thinking, it's a strange world we live in. We'll talk about to the Imam from the Soweto Mosque, Mgeni, in fact, right after this.